I've just finished watching Apple's live stream event called Spring Loaded, and I thought I'd produce a video showing you the highlights of the demonstration and giving you some information about the new products that we're going to see this year. There was a number of announcements, including a brand new iMac, there's a new colorway for the iPhone 12, new AirTags, an updated Apple TV. There's also some new features for the Apple Card, which is a payment system, and a new subscription service for podcasts, which we'll talk about during this video. The first one is the brand new 24-inch iMac, which is the most exciting because it's finally showing some signs of innovation from Apple. Now, I wouldn't say it's completely innovative, but we are getting a completely different look from the previous iMac, which had been around for at least 8 to 9 years. There was the same look and feel about that iMac. Each year, they only updated the internals very incrementally to give us a little bit more processing power and performance year after year. But finally in 2021, we have what most people have been waiting for, a more streamlined design that kind of looks like an enlarged iPad Pro on a stand. That's really how I would best describe it. There's also a range of different color choices available, from blue to green to red to yellow, orange, purple, and the traditional silver that we'd always seen in the previous iMac. So plenty of choices in terms of color. In terms of the processing power, we get this brand new Core M1 processor that was first introduced last year in their MacBook series of computers and MacBook Air. So now this M1 is finding its way into the iMac, which is probably a good move because a lot of the software now is becoming native to this new M1 processor, and apparently the speeds are much faster than the equivalent versions of the Intel machines that came out the year prior. The new iMacs will feature a 1080p front-facing, low-light capable camera, so it's going to make your video conference calls much better than the previous models. There's a new power supply that looks a little bit like a MacBook Pro charger. You can place this on the floor and then run the power cable up to the iMac for a seamless look. The base model has 2 Thunderbolt USB 4 ports. The mid-range and top-end model has 2 Thunderbolt USB 4 ports, 2 USB 3 ports, and gigabit Ethernet. The new keyboard includes an emoji button, spotlight, dictation, and now have Touch ID, and they're color matched to your iMac along with the Magic Mouse and trackpad. There's 3 different versions available to purchase, and surprisingly, the specs are relatively low on all of the units, with 8GB RAM as standard, which is really far too low in my opinion to do any type of professional video editing, photography, or 3D animation, or anything quite serious on an iMac. So I'm surprised that we still have this low benchmark of 8GB. So undoubtedly, you're going to need to look at updating that to a high capacity RAM. The hard drive storage is also quite low. You get 256GB SSD storage for both of the base units, and then the higher end model comes in with 512GB storage, which once again is far too low for anyone doing video production, photography, if you're using it on an extensive daily basis. So a little disappointing that they're so low spec'd. When I tried to click through on the store, because the products aren't quite available yet, I couldn't go in to configure the iMacs and upgrade them to higher capacity RAM and storage to find out what the cost would be. But if we're looking at around the $12.99 base unit or $14.99 for the mid-range model, let's say we take it up to 16GB of RAM and go to 1TB storage, it's probably going to go up to around $2,500 to $3,000 by the time we get those upgrades onto the iMac. So for pro video editing, it could be an option. Certainly given this M1 processor is going to have the power that you need, with Final Cut Pro being updated to perform natively with this new silicon chip, DaVinci Resolve also, I believe Premiere Pro, Photoshop, all the main creative applications now working natively with this M1 processor. Certainly the speeds are going to be there, but you are going to need the specifications all round on the machine to match in order to get that performance. Moving along to the next announcement, and that was a new purple colorway to match the purple on this iMac, if you like, for the iPhone 12. So the iPhone 12 already has an extensive range of colors. They've now introduced the same phone with a purple colorway. If you're in the market for a new iPad Pro, you're in luck. They've been upgraded to the M1 processor and also include 5G models. There's a new true depth camera with an ultra wide 22mm lens. There are two versions of the iPad Pro, the 11-inch with the liquid retina display and the 12.9 version with the liquid retina XDR display. Next up is Apple's AirTag. It's a product which has been rumored for a number of years now. The tag product essentially is a circular disc that you can place on a product, and if you happen to misplace a product, if it's stolen, lost in any way, you can tap on the Find My app to locate that product. If you have an iPhone 12, you can take advantage of precision finding to get the precise distance of your AirTag. iPhone fuses the data with the input from your camera, accelerometer, and gyroscope to give you visual, haptic, and audible feedback, guiding you right to your AirTag. Now you can buy a single tag for around $29 US or a pack of 4 for $99, and they're quite small, so you can place them on any product. You can put them in your bag, in your wallet, in your car, and you can also purchase additional holders for the tags, which allows them to act as a kind of key ring, so it makes them more versatile and taggable on various other products that you might own. Next up was the announcement of the Apple TV, which is going to be 4K, and it will now use the A12 Bionic processor. So apparently this is going to be not only faster in operation, but it's going to have a higher frame rate for those of you watching sporting events or those of you into 3D gaming. And there's also a brand new remote to replace the previous streamlined version. It looks a little bit more tactile and easy to use than the previous model. Next up was the announcement on Apple Card. If you've never heard of this before, it's essentially Apple's version of a credit card. Previously, it was only able to be used by that individual member. Now it can extend across your family network. So for those of you who have family on your Apple network, you can actually allow other members of your family to use your credit card. Next up are some changes to Apple Podcasts, where it will allow creators to add subscription services to their podcasts. They'll be able to offer early access content, ad-free listening, and various perks via a subscription basis. And in order to get access to this, the creator simply has to sign up for the service, which will cost them around $19.99 per year. And they'll be able to upload that bonus and additional content via an Apple specific platform rather than their traditional RSS feed that they might have been using on an independent platform. So that's going to be an interesting update for podcast creators, and it should allow them to further monetize their content and build upon their success. So that pretty much wraps up my summary of the Apple Spring Loaded event of 2021. Will I be purchasing any of these products? I would say I'll definitely be getting the Apple Tag product, at least 1 4-pack, probably 2. I'm often misplacing my gear, my wallet. My phone's already covered by the Find My app, but certainly my gear goes missing all the time. So being able to put a tag on a product, have it just sitting there very discreetly, and locating any of my items at any time is going to be a massive advantage for me. So I really like that update. In terms of that new iMac, I'm very interested. I think the M1 processor, in conjunction with the apps that run natively on the M1, especially DaVinci Resolve, which I use here on the channel to edit my videos, is going to be a massive upgrade from my 2017 iMac, which has been used for quite a few years now and certainly ready to go to that next level. The only downside is that low spec, so until I actually get in there and configure the machine to see how much it's going to cost to upgrade it to at least 32 gig of RAM, at least 1 terabyte hard drive, if it comes in at around 3,000, maybe 3.5, I think it may be worth my while. If not, I might just have to hold out for later in the year, when it's very likely they're probably going to go up a level and introduce some kind of pro version of the iMac, which might be more suitable for my needs. But if I can get this up to spec at a reasonable price, I certainly may be considering the purchase. And if I do, I will be following up with a video on the channel, which reminds me, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel so that you are notified as soon as my new videos are available. If you enjoyed the video, hit me up with a like, and if you've got any comments, if you've got any suggestions about what you've seen here today, what you think about these brand new products, feel free to put them in the comments box below. See you on the next one. Bye for now.